He's a legend, isn't he? So if he retires now, he knows he might come back for another big payday or with AJ or something, but he's earned it. He's a legend in my opinion.
Listen, he was unbelievable. He was on form today. He boxed great. He did the right things. He was counter-punching and he was moving well and he wasn't getting caught. And he started off with a jab, so what can you say?
The performance from Oleksandr Usyk, he stopped the fight early, but I say this before, Daniel Dubois made so much pressure, too much pressure, he not control, and every jab, every right hand is too strong.
He was moving, but when he found the time to be aggressive, he took.
Daniel Dubois admitted just how incredibly skilled Oleksandr Usyk is, and that speaks volumes. The fear, the respect, and even a sense of defeat were written all over his face. Usyk didn't just win, he dismantled Dubois mentally. When a fighter openly praises a man who just knocked him out, it's a clear sign of how dominant and intimidating that performance truly was. Usyk sent a message Dubois couldn't ignore.
The performance, I gave everything I had. It just wasn't, probably a few things I could have sharpened up on, but take no credit away.
Dubois talked confidently before the fight, insisting he had what it took to dethrone Usyk. But once in the ring, Hamza showed just how far off that claim was. Usyk wasn't there to put on a pretty boxing display. He came to dominate. From his intense stare during fight week to his cold, clinical finish in the ring, everything he did was driven by intent. Dubois' bold words quickly faded once Usyk delivered on his promise with a ruthless and perfectly timed performance.
Parker's deserved his shot. I think Parker should get a world title fight regardless, even if Usyk vacates the belts.
Hands off. Usyk fought like a heavyweight, not a cruiserweight in there tonight.
Yep, no, he did. He stood on business, man. He stood on business and he said he was going to knock the bar out and he done exactly that.
He came to fight, not to box.
Yeah, no, for real, but you could see it all fight week. You could see it all fight week in his eyes and in his persona as well.
How good is Usyk?
This is where things start to get messy. A visibly shaken Don Charles began making wild accusations, implying that Usyk's win was tainted by deception and guilt. But let's be honest, Dubois had his opportunity and crumbled under real pressure. Turning the loss into some kind of moral argument only exposes a frustration boiling in his corner. When you're systematically broken down in the ring, questioning your opponent's conscience won't do anything to restore your pride.
To sleep because he's troubling his mind because he knows he's cheated and lied.
And do you think that will continue to stay the way?
Most definitely, because if he's a true believer, not just for show, saying God, Jesus, God, if he's a true believer, he has to repent.
At the same time, Eddie Hearn laid it all out with straightforward honesty and clear respect for Usyk's dominance. He didn't sugarcoat a thing. Usyk may have faced some early pressure, but he turned the tide with absolute composure. Dubois came out aggressive, but Usyk stood firm, then took over. He methodically dismantled Dubois, just as he did with AJ and Fury before. That's how legacies are built. What Dubois saw as danger, Usyk handled like it was just another day at the office. There are levels in this game, and right now, Usyk is operating at the very top.
Was under pressure in the first round because Dubois comes out fast like he did against AJ, and if he catches you, you're in trouble. And I think just after that, he just decided basically, I'm not going to go on the back foot anymore. I'm going to take the fight to Dubois. And he just kind of beat him up and obviously stopped him. I mean, he's beaten AJ twice, Fury twice, Dubois twice.
Martin Bacol saw it coming, and he wasn't wrong. He predicted Dubois wouldn't make it past the 5th round, and Usyk proved him right with surgical precision. Bacol didn't just throw out opinions. He highlighted the real flaws in Dubois' approach. While Dubois stuck to repetitive, predictable patterns, Usyk entered the ring sharp, calm, and laser-focused. This wasn't just a difference in skill, it was a complete mismatch in mindset. Bacol had already cracked the code, but Dubois ignored the signs. This wasn't about one punch landing. It was about preparation, awareness, and perfect execution. Usyk made it look effortless because Dubois failed to adapt. One man evolved, the other stood still. And while Bacol often says one punch can change everything, he knows that kind of punch only lands when it's backed by perfect timing and total control, both of which Usyk had in abundance. Dubois, on the other hand, came in with hope, and that was never going to be enough against a fighter operating on a completely different level. Even Lennox Lewis was left stunned by what Usyk brought to the ring.
Congratulations to Usyk.
amazing. No one was respecting that. But I said it before the fight. I said Dubois will get knocked out around 4 or 5. He will never pass 5 rounds. So because I said it, if he wanted to keep the same style that he fought with Usyk will knock him out easy. But if he changed some couple stuff, he would done well. But no, sorry to him, and it happened today. One punch in every can.
When Lennox Lewis, one of the greatest heavyweights in history, calls a performance unbelievable, that's not just a compliment. That's respect earned through blood, sweat, and mastery. Usyk didn't just win. He delivered a masterclass so brilliant it made even Lennox pause in admiration. His footwork was untouchable, his jab sharp as a needle, and his counterpunching left Dubois swinging at thin air. Usyk was always 2 steps ahead, reading every hesitation, capitalizing on every opening. And Lennox, a man who's faced the very best, knows greatness when he sees it. And Usyk checked every box. This wasn't just another win. It was a lesson in how to dismantle a bigger opponent through fight IQ, movement, and cold precision. While Dubois seemed lost and flat-footed, Usyk moved like a man on a mission. For Lennox to be this impressed, it says everything. Usyk's performance wasn't just great, it was generational. And now, even Conor Benn has stepped in, raising the stakes by comparing Usyk to one of boxing's most iconic names.
It was unbelievable. He was on form today. He boxed great. He did the right things. He was counter-punching, and he was moving well, and he wasn't getting caught. And he started off with a jab, so what could...
Now that's a bold statement. Conor Benn didn't hold back, calling Usyk the best heavyweight in the world right now and even drawing comparisons to the legendary Ali. And honestly, it no longer sounds far-fetched. Usyk has dominated 2 weight classes, taken down unified champions, dismantled elite contenders, and never once looked out at his depth. That's not luck, that's greatness. Where others crack under pressure, Usyk thrives in chaos. Dubois had the size, the power, and youth on his side, but Usyk brought the mind of a tactician and the heart of a warrior. Conor Benn sees what's happening. In a heavyweight scene flooded with hype, delays, and empty talk, Usyk consistently shows up, performs, and raises a bar. You don't earn elite-level comparisons unless you're doing something special, and Usyk is doing it fight after fight, with 0 excuses. Right now, there's no clear strategy to beat him, and that's what makes a comparison even more intimidating. But if you thought that was a bold take, wait until you hear what Caroline Dubois had to say. This one hits hard.
Best heavyweight there is currently, and I don't see anybody beating him.
Is he as good as Muhammad Ali? It's not a crazy thing to say, I don't think, at this point.
Yeah, the thing is, you can't really do the comparisons, do you know what I mean? But I do think he is one of the best currently now to do it.
Who do you want to see Usyk fight next, or just sail off?
He can sail off into the sunset, and he's done everything. Do you know what I mean? He's phenomenal fighter, man. You're watching him, I'm just watching him, I'm going, oh my God. Like, that's God-given talent.
Caroline Dubois didn't hold back, and the irony couldn't be sharper. She wasn't just praising Usyk, she was indirectly calling out her own brother's collapse. When she said, "You can't fake that," it was a quiet but brutal jab at Daniel's lack of adaptability and championship mindset. Usyk climbed weight classes, took on the toughest names, and dominated. No shortcuts, no excuses. Meanwhile, Daniel faltered when it mattered most. Caroline's words hit with honesty and precision. True talent shows itself, and when preparation meets the moment, legends are born. Usyk's journey from cruiserweight king to heavyweight nightmare proves that. It's everything Daniel hasn't become, and Caroline knows it. The contrast is loud. Her quiet respect for Usyk versus the frustration boiling in her brother's corner speaks volumes. In boxing, greatness earns respect, and Usyk keeps showing why his name deserves to be mentioned with the all-time greats. But just when you think the criticism couldn't get any more intense, Dave Allen enters a conversation, and he doesn't hold back.
Phenomenal fighter, phenomenal athlete. To move up in weight, to become undisputed at cruiserweight, undisputed at heavyweight, that speaks of his talent. You can't fake that.
Dave Allen didn't hold back, and he didn't sugarcoat a thing. He gave Usyk his full respect while ripping into Dubois with one brutally honest take. Calling Usyk the best of this era, it's not hype, it's reality. He cleaned out cruiserweight, moved up, and dismantled top-tier heavyweights without missing a beat. But Allen's words about Dubois cut the deepest. He didn't say Dubois was unlucky. He didn't claim it was a close call. He simply said the performance was poor, and he was right. No urgency, no clear plan, and absolutely no answer to Usyk's brilliance. This was Dubois' chance to prove himself, and he came up empty. Meanwhile, Usyk looked like a master at work, adding another name to his growing legacy. Allen's respect isn't cheap. He's been in the trenches and knows what elite looks like. And Usyk is forcing even the skeptics to admit the truth. This man is operating on another level, and everyone, even rival fans, can see it.
He's the best of our generation by far. He has to be. He's beat everybody. He's literally beat everybody. You could say he's not beat Wiley. You could say it's Almas still to come, Parker. He's beat everybody. Daniel Dubois, for me, Daniel Dubois was poor tonight. I know we're not getting onto that yet, but he was poor tonight. But he's beat Fury twice. He's beat Joshua twice. He mopped up at cruiserweight. He's done it all. Yeah, there's nothing really much else to...
Martin Bacol didn't just take a jab at Dubois. He buried him with facts. This wasn't random trash talk. It was precise, personal, and absolutely devastating. Bacol laid out exactly what would happen before the bell rang, and Dubois still walked straight into it, like a man blind to his own mistakes. No real jab, no game plan, no adjustments. Just the same flat performance and flaws Usyk had already exposed. And when Bacol said Dubois deserved that knockout, that wasn't just brutal, it was cold truth wrapped in frustration. You could hear the disappointment in his voice, not just as a fighter, but as someone who expected more effort on boxing's biggest stage. Usyk, meanwhile, did what greats always do. He read the situation, adapted mid-fight, and put on a masterclass. While Dubois looked lost, Usyk was 3 moves ahead, controlling the ring like a chess master. Bacol isn't exaggerating when he says Usyk is the best in both cruiserweight and heavyweight. His record proves it. Filled with champions, contenders, and hype trains turned into statistics. Dubois tried to fake it through a war, but Usyk wasn't buying it. He called the bluff and ended it with surgical precision. This wasn't just a defeat. It was a full-on breakdown. And now Bacol follows it up with even more praise, the kind that sounds like it comes from someone who's not just impressed, but genuinely awed.
For the fight, even today, before today, that Daniel Dubois never passed 5 rounds if he kept boxing like the same way he boxed last time he fought Usyk. But he did the same. There was no jab, nothing changed. He deserved the knockout because he never changed something like...
Oleksandr Usyk is on track to becoming one of the greatest pugilists
it's
to
not
ever...
just talk, it's earned respect. This isn't hype from a casual fan. It's praise from someone who's fought at the top and knows how rare it is to stay unbeaten, especially in the heavyweight division. But listen closely to Bacol's voice. Even he sounds torn. Part of him wants to clap. The other part wants to warn every contender to steer clear. It's admiration laced with disbelief. Usyk didn't just step into the heavyweight scene. He took it over with IQ, footwork, and a champion's heart. Next to him, Dubois looked stuck in slow motion. Rigid, hesitant, predictable. While Usyk flowed like current through the ropes, every angle, every step, every strike was deliberate and deadly. No heavyweight is doing what is doing. Nobody reads and adjusts in real time like Usyk. And when Bacol hints at retirement or legacy extension, it's not a dare, it's a fact. Usyk has already cleaned out the room. What's left now is optional. Greatness has already been stamped. Whether he walks away tomorrow or defends again, the truth is clear. Usyk is the standard. Everyone else? Playing catch-up. But just when things get quiet, David Adeleye steps up to remind us. Dubois had heart, yes, but Usyk had levels.
The best for right now. For this moment now is the best. Retire or keep fighting. He done well, he done amazing. This guy is a machine. So it's the best right now, to be honest. So he's still undefeated.
David Adeleye takes a calmer, more balanced view. He gives Dubois credit for stepping up. And fair enough, just facing Usyk takes serious courage. But here's the truth. Bravery alone doesn't win world titles. And Adeleye knows it. When he says, credit to Usyk for pulling it off time and time again, he's pointing to the one trait that separates a great from the legends, consistency. Dubois came in with hope. Usyk showed up with a blueprint. Dubois wanted to land something big. Usyk broke him down with strategy, composure, and complete control. And that's the scary part. Usyk didn't just win. He made Dubois' size and strength look meaningless. Adelaye's message is crystal clear. No matter how much heart Dubois brings, he's still miles behind when it comes to fight IQ and ring mastery. Usyk isn't just beating contenders, he's making them look basic. And that's a nightmare for every heavyweight sitting ringside, watching this technician work and silently praying they're not next. But if you think that's the end of the story, just wait. Tony Bellew is about to explain why even when all odds are stacked against him, Usyk remains untouchable.
I think Usyk keeps proving himself. He gets doubted a lot. And I think he's proven himself so many times that it's kind of crazy that people doubt him. But you got to give credit to Daniel for getting in there. He tried the thing. And more credit to Usyk for pulling it off time and time again.
Tony Bellew doesn't waste words. And when he talks about Usyk, he gets straight to the truth. Usyk's greatest weapon? Adaptability. There's nobody in boxing today who can shift gears mid-career, mid-fight, or even mid-round, the way Usyk can. Bellew, a man who's been in the ring with him, doesn't hand out compliments lightly. But here is crystal clear. Usyk didn't just train for Dubois. He reinvented himself. He adjusted his footwork, controlled the pace, and slowed down just enough to expose Dubois' sluggish reactions. That's not just smart. That's elite fight IQ in motion. While Dubois was going through the motions, Usyk was executing a plan tailored to dismantle him piece by piece. Bellew's final takeaway says it all. No one beats this version of Usyk. He's not just technically superior. He's mentally ahead, physically prepared, and tactically flawless. Dubois didn't just lose a boxing match. He walked into a masterclass where every move had already been predicted. Usyk doesn't fight to win. He transforms to dominate. And when Bellew speaks about that experience, you can hear it. The respect of a man who's been across the ring from greatness.
There's no one who's going to beat him. I just think technically, physically now, he's at the weight and he's adapted and he's adjusted. I mean, he's even adjusted and adapted his weight for this fight individually. I mean, he put on how much weight and slowed his actual feet down because Daniel Dubois' feet.
Duke McKenzie saw it from the opening bell. Dubois wasn't there. Not mentally, not emotionally. Flat-footed, dull-eyed, silent gloves. Against Joshua, Dubois came out like a storm. Stiff jab, forward pressure, real presence. But this time, nothing. No rhythm, no snap, no conviction. McKenzie wasn't pointing out a lack of tactics. He was pointing out a lack of belief. This wasn't physical. It was psychological warfare, and Usyk won it before the first punch landed. From the outside, Usyk looked calm. But inside that stay, cold control. He didn't need to throw bombs. He just needed to exist in that ring. And that alone began to drain Dubois. Every movement Dubois made looked hesitant. Every punch lacked meaning. He wasn't fighting. He was surviving. McKenzie's comparison to the AJ fight is sharp. There, Dubois had something to prove. Hey, he looked like a man already defeated. When your opponent owns your mind by round one, the rest is just a slow, painful unraveling.
To me, in the first round, looked really tired. I don't know if it was the occasion that got to him. Obviously, Usyk got to him, but his punches had no snap on them. When Dubois fought Anthony Joshua, in the first round, he sat out his stall and he went to work straight away. Steady jab, stiff jab, big jab. He jabbed Joshua to death in the first 30 seconds. But in this fight against Usyk, the jab was pretty much non-existent.
Oleksandr Usyk didn't just defend his name. He carved it into legend. Across every corner of the boxing world, one truth cut through louder than any left hook. Right now, Usyk is untouchable. With every round, he peeled back the layers of Dubois, exposing flaws, controlling space, dictating tempo. Not with brute force, but with brilliance. While Dubois stood frozen at the crossroads, unsure and unraveling, Usyk marched forward like a man rewriting history. The gap between them wasn't just talent. It was mentality. One man evolved. The other repeated the same fatal mistakes. And if this version of Usyk continues, we may be watching the greatest technical heavyweight since Lennox Lewis. A ghost in gloves who sees a fight before it happens. As for Dubois, if something doesn't change soon, he risks becoming more cautionary tale than contender. One thing certain, Usyk isn't just dominating. He's redefining the standard. And the rest of the heavyweight division, they're not just on notice. They're running out of time.